Miriam Joy, and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our Mr. and Mrs. wedding favors. We want to show you how to do these. This is a big trend right now and a nice thing that you can give your guests. It's really simple and easy. We're going to be using our Scorch wood burning pen, and this is going to be a fun class, so let's get started. So to do our wedding favor or our wedding momento, this is a real fun, simple project. I don't think it's going to take you a lot of time, and you could do it yourself. So that's really fun. Or if you have a friend that's getting married and they want something like this, you can make that for them, and that be your present to them. So a couple of things to think about. You want a nice piece of wood. Depending on what you're going to put on it is how big your design is going to be, or your piece of wood is going to be. You want a wood that is soft, that is sanded well, at least to 250 grit, and nice and ready. Like this is real rough here. You want it nice and smooth and ready to go. You also could put a hole in it if you wanted to have them be able to hang it somewhere. I know we've got a little split in that one, but it's just kind of to show you a different idea. If you're comfortable, you can go straight to the piece of wood. If you're not comfortable, you can kind of put it on with your pencil. There are also companies that you can buy a stickable stencil that'll stick right on, and then you pull it off, and you have to get one for each piece of wood. Or like this one, if you wanted to use some of the hearts or some of the different things like that in the middle, you can just use a regular stencil and just kind of hold it on with your hand and put that on with the Scorch pen. But I'm going to start out here. So I want my Mr. and Mrs. to kind of come between this area and that area. And we're going to kind of just make it real simple here. And you want it big enough, if you're using the Scorch pen, that you can write with it. So think about that. Now if we're going to put our middle name in here, we're going to kind of think about where each letter would kind of go and put that on, so that one side is not too far off from the other. Or if you wanted to do a heart or something instead and just leave it Mr. and Mrs. Now I, if you can tell, did not follow that line right there. So we're going to use a gum eraser. And if you happen to use your Scorch pen and do not like the design, you can remove it by simply sanding it off. So there we have, that's a little bit better. And then we're going to go ahead and put our date on it that the wedding is going to occur. Or you could do these for an anniversary gift. You know, who says they have to be a wedding? So we've got May, and I know that I am too short in time here, and I'm going to do this straight across because I have this part here to work with. So you always want to look at your wood and kind of see what your challenge is. On this one, I had this guy here, so I wouldn't want to write the words there. So there's always a little bit of a challenge working with wood, unless you have a nice clean one, and then that's nice. So we're going to do May 24, and you could do the year, or you don't have to do the year. If I did, I would even make that a little further over. Okay, so we're going to take our Scorch Pen, and this is a new product at miriamjoy.com, and this is instead of wood burning. I have lung issues and I do not like to wood burn very much. We're going to shake it, and there's 2 tips. It's non-toxing. You have a flat end, and then you kind of have a tip with a little bit, kind of a calligraphy tip. I know there's another word for it. Show you that one. That shows up a little bit better. So when you're working and you want it more of calligraphy type, you'd use that. If you want it round, then use the round one. I say use the round one when you have a smaller area, and the calligraphy when you have a bigger area. So I'm going to do the Sagan with the calligraphy, and then I'm going to do the other part with the round. So I am gently pushing this down to bring the liquid into the tip, and that's how we get that going. This is non-toxic. You don't have to worry about the fumes or anything like that, which is absolutely wonderful. And if you're really good at calligraphy, you probably don't have to even put a pattern on here. Now, to make some of these spaces wider, we're going to come in and we're just going to widen that out. And just make it that more dramatic. So I'm going to switch over my tips here to my round end, and again I'm going to push down. As long as that's writing, you do not have to keep doing that. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, let's go do our Mr. and Mrs. Now remember, your design is just a pattern. You do not have to follow it exactly. And after you wood burn it, you can come back in and erase the parts in between. Excuse me, heat that up so it looks wood burned. I'm going to try and go a little bit smaller. I'm going to change my tip back and just stay on the up on the tip part so we can get that just a little bit smaller, just to show you another way to use that tip there. Alright, now we've got that nice and done. I'm gonna do a little bit of a swirl here just to add some fanciness to it. That kind of absorbed up a little bit more there. So I need to think about coming the opposite direction here. And I didn't. I did it the other way, but that's okay. That looks just fine. Okay, so we've got that all ready to go. So now we're going to simply heat it up. I would recommend you doing this in a ventilated area a little bit. And if you're going to do too many of them, I might even wear a mask just to be on the precautionary side of that. And it's better if you have a hot air gun and over an embossing tool. This heats up real hot, real fast, so just know that. And you do want to be very careful and not touch the end. And I have put on my tip one of the ends that we have that even directs it more to a point. And we do have these at miriamjoy.com if you need one. So let's get this heated up. You can see I'm going almost directly over the top of it. And sometimes it will turn a little bit white before it gets ready to go. And then you'll notice all of a sudden it'll start to change on you. Sometimes getting the wood heated up a little bit takes a little bit longer, and then it'll start to go. And you can do this as dark as you want or as light as you want. You want to move it because you don't want to burn the wood under it. So that is something to know as well. So now that we've heated that all up, you can see how pretty that is. And my husband was pointing out how he likes this design even better with the flaws. It doesn't look too perfect. Nature is not perfect, and our lives are definitely not perfect, but the flaws are what gives the beauty to it, like this one with the line. Now you can see this one's a little bit lighter. As long as you have not varnished it, you can come back in and heat that up again and get that a little bit darker until you like it. If by chance you start to see your wood behind it changing, you know that you're sitting on top of it and getting it all too hot. So make sure that you're moving it around and just keep that going. Remember, do not touch the tip. It is hot. And we work over a silicone mat. That's kind of the reason why I burned my table the first time. So we do have those as well for you. Okay, but those are still beautiful, and they're going to be a little bit hot, so be careful. Now, after you've got them exactly like you want them, varnish them with any type of varnish that you're comfortable with. A lot of people don't know. I would probably use just Krylon. You can pick up at Walmart. That's inexpensive, a spray-on for around $4, and give it a couple of nice coats. If you wanted to turn these into coasters, you'd want to varnish them very, very well and make sure that you have lots of coats on them. There's nothing underneath like a dye or anything that's going to take that off. Some people would even put epoxy over the top, but that would be up to you. If you want them to look kind of natural looking like the wood, then use a flat. Usually your varnish comes in flat, satin, and gloss. Flat being the less glare that would look more natural, and gloss being very glossy and very shiny. So that was really fun. Go get yours made. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed making our wedding favors or wedding mementos, or turning them into anything that you want to do. Anniversary, family name. Those would really be fun as coasters. You could do like your name and establish like in 1994. The year you guys got married or something like that. There's a lot of fun things you can do. I'd love to see pictures of what you come up with. You can always email me at art@miriamjoy.com. And for our silicone pad, our Scorch Pen, and our heat gun, we do have those at miriamjoy.com, and we do have different kits to help you if you need all of the items or just a couple of the items. Thank you for joining me today. God bless.